Dragon Masters, Secret of the Water Dragon by Tracy West, illustrated by Graham Howells. Chapter 1. Saddle Up. "Steady now," warned Griffith, the king's wizard. "We have never tried putting a saddle on a dragon before. I am not sure how she will like it." Griffith and the Dragon Masters were in the training room, hidden beneath King Roland's castle. A magical stone called the Dragon Stone had chosen Drake, Bo, Rory, and Anna to work with dragons. Griffith was their teacher. The Dragon Masters stood around a big dragon with shiny blue scales. "Bo, bring the buckle under Shu's belly," Griffith said. "Now tighten the buckle. Good." Drake watched his friend Bo put a saddle on Shu. She was a water dragon, so she was usually very calm. Shu stood still as Bo pulled the buckle tightly. "Good job, Shu," Bo said, patting her neck.
"Now can I put a saddle on Vulcan?"
asked Rory.
"And can we please ride our dragons today, Griffith?"
asked Anna.
"King Roland's crafters are making a saddle for each dragon," answered Griffith. "The other saddles will be ready tomorrow."
"Will there be a saddle for Worm?" asked Drake. He looked over at his dragon. Worm was an earth dragon. He had a long body like a snake. He had no legs and tiny wings. Worm couldn't fly like the other dragons could.
"Yes, Worm has a very special power. He can take you from one place to another in the blink of an eye," Griffith said. "A saddle is a good idea for any type of travel."
Drake nodded.
"It is time for dinner," said Griffith. "Please put away your dragons and head to the dining room."
"Well, I hope I get to test Vulcan's saddle first tomorrow," Rory said. "Vulcan and I didn't get to do anything fun today."
She marched off toward the dragon caves. Her dragon Vulcan stomped after her. He was a fire dragon with red scales. Anna followed Rory. She skipped along. Her dragon Kepri moved like a graceful dancer beside her. Kepri was a sun dragon with a slim body and white scales. Drake helped Bo take off Shu's saddle. They put their dragons in their caves. Then they took the stairs to the dining room in the tower. After dinner, the boys went to their room. Drake touched his dragon stone as they walked. Each of the Dragon Masters wore a piece of the stone. It let them connect with their dragons.
"Bo,"
Drake said,
"do you think Worm can go anywhere in the world?"
"I think so," Bo said. "He has very strong powers." Bo opened the door, then he froze. Drake bumped into him.
"Bo, what's wrong?"
Drake asked. His friend was staring at his bed. His face looked pale. Drake followed his gaze. A black feather lay on Bo's pillow. Chapter 2. The Black Feather.
"That's strange," Drake said. "We must have left the window open."
Bo sat down on the bed and picked up the feather. He looked worried.
"Bo, it's just a feather," Drake said. "What's wrong?"
"Nothing. I'm fine," Bo said. But Drake didn't believe him. Bo was quiet as the boys climbed into bed. He rolled over and faced the wall. Drake could tell something was bothering Bo.
"But why would a feather upset him?"
Drake drifted off to sleep, thinking about his friend.
"I hope he's okay."
When Drake woke up in the morning, Bo was sitting up in bed. He was wide awake.
"Wow, have you been up a long time?"
said Drake. Bo shrugged. I'm just excited to ride Shu today." But Drake didn't hear excitement in Bo's voice. The boys headed down to breakfast. Anna and Rory were already eating.
"It's about time you two sleepyheads got here," said Rory.
"I can't wait to get outside,"
said Anna.
"Last night, Kepri sent a picture to my mind. We were flying in the sky. She sends me lots of pictures since we made our connection."
Drake nodded. He and Worm formed a strong connection too. He could hear Worm in his head. His dragon stone glowed green every time it happened. But this hadn't happened for Bo and Shu, or for Rory and Vulcan.
I'm sure we will go right outside. Where is Griffith? Bo asked, looking around. Rory shrugged. He's probably getting the saddles ready. Hurry up and eat. Drake was excited to test out Worm's saddle. He wolfed down his breakfast. Let's go, Rory said as soon as Drake was done. Drake got up and put an apple in his pocket to give Worm. Anna grabbed Bo's arm and pulled him off his seat. As they left, Drake looked back. Bo had hardly eaten breakfast. Downstairs, they found Griffith waiting for them in the training room. He had a serious look on his face. What's wrong? Anna asked.
Somebody tried to steal the Dragonstone,
he said.
Chapter 3. A Thief in the Castle. The Dragon Masters gasped.
What happened? Rory asked.
I always protect the stone with magic charms,
Griffith explained.
These charms cannot be seen, but they form an invisible net around the box that holds the Dragonstone, and they can only be broken with a magic spell.
So how do you know someone tried to steal the stone?
Asked Drake.
This morning, I found that something had upset the magic of the charms. They were not broken, but I could tell that someone had tried to break them,
Griffith answered. Anna gripped the stone around her neck.
If somebody steals the main Dragonstone, would our smaller stone lose their powers? No, the wizard replied. But someone could use the main stone to control the dragons, or even to form a dragon army.
Isn't that what King Roland is doing? Asked Drake.
King Roland wants to use the dragons for good. I have known King Roland since he was a boy. He is a good man at heart, and as long as the stone is in my care, I can keep it safe. Safe from people like Mordred.
He shuddered. The Dragon Masters looked at one another.
You mean Mordred, the Dark Wizard? Is he the one who tried to steal the Dragonstone last night?
Drake asked. The Dragon Masters all knew that Mordred had tried to get to their dragons before. They had never seen Mordred, but already his dark magic had caused a lot of trouble. Griffith shook his head.
No, he said. Mordred would not have been so careless. He would have broken the charm using a spell. Our thief clearly did not know about the charms.
Drake glanced at Bo. His friend kept looking nervously over his shoulder.
To protect the Dragonstone, I must find a better hiding place for it,
Griffith continued.
I will leave the castle right away to look for one.
So there's no riding practice today? Anna asked. She looked at the finished saddles.
You may go outside and have a free day, but the dragons must stay inside, he said.
Then he hurried out of the room.
What do we do now?
Rory asked.
Well, we can still spend the day with our dragons, Drake replied. We can hang out with them in the caves. I must go, Bo said. There is something I must take care of. What? Drake began, but Bo was already rushing off.
He's acting strange, Rory said with her hands on her hips. Anna nodded.
Yes, he seems quieter than usual today. I think something is wrong with him, Drake said, remembering the black feather.
Maybe he's worried about the Dragonstone, said Rory. As they headed to the dragon caves, Drake kept looking behind him. Was the thief still in the castle? Chapter 4. The Wizard's Trap. Worm looked up as soon as Drake reached his cave. Drake took the apple from breakfast out of his pocket.
Good morning, Worm,
Drake said, holding out the treat. The dragon craned his long neck. He grabbed the apple in his teeth and ate it in one gulp. Drake sat down on the cold floor of the cave.
Somebody tried to steal the Dragonstone last night,
Drake said.
Griffith is finding a new hiding place for the stone, so we have a free day.
Rory and Anna walked up to Worm's cave.
Come on, Drake. We're going outside,
Rory said.
Yeah, we don't want to be stuck in here all day,
said Anna.
Coming?
Drake shook his head.
No, thanks. I'm going to stay with Worm.
Rory shrugged. Have fun in the dark. We'll be outside.
The girls walked away. Drake started to tell Worm a story about when he lived back on the onion farm. Suddenly, Worm's neck jerked up. His eyes glowed green.
What is it, Worm?
Asked Drake. Drake's dragonstone glowed too. Then he heard Worm's voice in his head. Bo.
What about Bo? Is he in trouble?
Drake asked. Worm nodded. Drake jumped up. He ran out of the caves and through the training room. He was on the way to their rooms when he heard noise coming from inside Griffith's workshop. But he knew Griffith had left the castle.
Is somebody there?
Drake wondered. The door was open a crack. He peeked inside. Bo was in Griffith's workshop, with one hand on the box that held the dragonstone. Drake held back a gasp. Bo was reading aloud from a book. The words sounded magical, like something a wizard would say. The charm protecting the stone could only be broken by a magic spell, he remembered. Then a terrible thought hit him.
Is Bo trying to steal the dragonstone?
Drake pushed open the door. He had to stop Bo. Suddenly, a spark shot out from the corner of the room. They hit the book Bo was holding, and it fell to the ground. Griffith stepped out of the shadows. His finger was pointing at Bo.
Stop, thief!
Chapter 5. Bo's Story. Bo's hands were shaking. He looked up at Griffith. Drake stood frozen in the doorway.
Come in, Drake,
Griffith said. Drake obeyed. The wizard's eyes stayed on Bo.
This is very serious. I set this trap because I thought somebody inside the castle had tried to steal the stone last night. I said I was leaving the castle, but then I hid in here. I had to see if the thief would come back, and he did. You did.
Bo looked down at his shoes.
I'm sorry,
he said softly.
Bo, tell me why you would do such a thing,
Griffith said.
Bo looked up. I cannot say. Please, Bo, Drake blurted out. I know you. You wouldn't steal anything. You have to explain.
Griffith looked into Bo's eyes.
We can help you, Bo, he said. But you must tell us why you tried to steal the stone.
Bo sighed.
It began when King Roland's soldiers came to my kingdom. They went to see Emperor Song. What did they want?
Drake asked.
They wanted me, Bo replied. The soldiers told the Emperor that King Roland wanted me for an important project. At first, Emperor Song did not agree to send me off. He was worried that I would not be safe. But my parents said it would be an honor to our kingdom, so he agreed.
Drake nodded.
Emperor Song sounds very nice. He is. Or at least he used to be, Bo said. Last night I found a black feather on my pillow. There was a note with it that I did not show Drake.
He took a piece of paper from his pocket and gave it to Griffith.
It says, his voice choked, it says that Emperor Song has put my family in prison. To save them, I must steal the dragonstone and bring it to him right away. And I must not tell anyone.
His eyes filled with tears. Griffith put a hand on his shoulder.
I understand. But you said he was a kind emperor, Bo, Drake said. Why would he do this?
I don't know,
Bo replied. I fear that some evil had come over him. I fear you are right, said the wizard. And we must help your emperor. But first, we have a problem closer to home. The black feather is a symbol of the Raven Guard.
Bo nodded.
Yes, you have heard of them. I have heard stories, Griffith said. The Raven Guard is a group of skilled fighters who serve the Emperor. They are very dangerous.
Drake turned pale.
So if the feather is in the castle, then one of the Raven Guards is here too, said Bo.